Podcasts are easily one of the best and most convenient ways for busy realtors like you to continuously educate yourself and grow your knowledge base in the many fields that impact your ability to perform this job at its highest levels. This is a career that requires you to be an expert in a whole lot more than just real estate. Clients look to you to have a firm grasp on current events, the economy, investing, and more. It's imperative that you have knowledge in a wide range of fields in order to serve them best. And podcasts are the perfect tool to do just that. My name is David Tortellini, and in today's video, I'm going to cover the 7 best podcasts for realtors in 2023. I might even throw a couple of bonus podcasts in there just because I can't help it. So hit that subscribe button and then stick around and we'll get right to it. If you're not a podcast person, I can't stress enough how impactful they can be, especially for agents like us who are constantly on the go and not always in a position to be looking at our TV or computer or phone screen. Podcasts are the perfect media platform for when we're in the car on the way to appointments, exercising, walking the dogs, or doing chores around the house. For most of us, this amounts to several hours a day of our lives. This is all time that we can be using to our advantage to gain perspective as a person, business owner, and real estate agent. Podcasts are easily accessible with a multitude of platforms on which you can listen to them, including ones you probably already have on your phone, like iTunes and Spotify. So while there are a bunch of other podcast apps out there, you most likely don't even need to download anything new to get started. The great thing about podcasts is that there are tens of thousands of them to choose from, maybe millions. It seems like just about everyone has a podcast these days. So no matter what you're looking for, you should be able to find a great podcast on it. But it also means you'll have to sift through all of them, do a bunch of research, and ask friends for recommendations, and then just test out a bunch and find a few that you may like or find helpful. When you're just getting started with podcasts, it may take a very long time to find the best ones for realtors. Many of the world's most popular podcasts aren't really geared towards us. So that's why I've created today's video. Once you've watched this whole video, you'll be able to take action right away, download the ones that sound best to you, and get right to listening. The 7 podcasts you should start listening to cover a variety of topics that are extremely important for all realtors. We'll cover economics, entrepreneurship, mindset, real estate investing, and of course, real estate sales. Okay, let's dive into our 7 podcasts, and do make sure to watch all the way through because I think the last one is probably the most important. Our first category is real estate sales. This is a career where you have to constantly be learning and evolving. What worked in your business 5 years ago may not work today. If you're not growing, you're dying. So I'm going to recommend 2 podcasts in the real estate sales category. First up is the Brian Buffini Show. If you're not familiar with Brian Buffini, he's someone you should absolutely be following. He's one of the most influential people in all of real estate and the go-to coach for working by referral. He runs one of the top coaching companies in the country, and his monthly marketing program is among the most effective tools in real estate for building a referral-based business. Known for writing handwritten notes, doing pop-bys, mailing newsletters, and his famous mayor campaign, his training will help you get on track working your sphere and generating virtually unlimited amounts of referral business. So when he talks, it's worth listening to. In his podcast, he'll share his thoughts and strategies on real estate and do economic forecasts, along with interviews with top professionals in the industry, along with motivation and business development. Regardless of where you are in your real estate career, the Brian Buffini Show will bring tremendous value. Our other real estate podcast is Keeping It Real with host DJ Paris. Now, there are a bunch of podcasts called Keeping It Real. The one you want is hosted by DJ Paris. It's the best of the bunch. This is a 100% interview podcast, and while DJ Paris isn't a big nationally known name like Brian Buffini, he does a great job of pulling a ton of value out of his guests. His interviews are very intentional and actionable. Most of the interviews are with active realtors who are producing at a very high level and sharing their journeys and strategies with listeners. Just about every interview has a golden nugget or two that can potentially transform your business. He has a few regular guests, including a loan officer who provides regular info on how you should be talking to your clients about everything mortgage related. This podcast brings a ton of value to each and every episode and is one you should definitely check out. As a bonus, if you do subscribe to the Raw and Keeping It Real podcast, it should be the podcast by Real Geeks, which is an online website and lead generation platform. It's a similar style podcast, but also includes some Real Geeks platform-specific content, so you might skip some episodes if you're not a Real Geeks user, but is otherwise an awesome podcast for just about any agent out there. Now let's shift gears away from real estate sales and into real estate investing. For this, there's one podcast that stands above the rest, and that's the Bigger Pockets podcast. Again, this is mostly an interview style podcast that's all about building a real estate investment business. So first, I'll say that every real estate agent should, as soon as they can, invest in real estate in one way or another. But more than that, if you're not investing, you're going to have clients who are, and you need to be able to talk to them on their level, using their terminology. And most importantly, know the strategies and provide resources to them for making wise real estate investments. In order to do that, I recommend listening to Bigger Pockets. Every episode features investors who are doing things on levels that I didn't even know were possible. They're all very open with their investment strategies, whether they're doing fix and flips, picking up single family or multifamily rentals, short-term rentals, commercial, you name it. Someone that's been on the show is doing it, along with the hosts who are big investors themselves. And it's not just what they're doing, but how they do it. The tips they give on building their inventory are where the real value comes in, because oftentimes the place you really make your money with real estate investments is on the purchase. These guys really know what they're talking about, and with a backlog of over 800 episodes, you have the option of jumping right in on the latest episode or searching for one that has what you're specifically looking for. As real estate agents, it's our job to understand economics in both the micro and the macro. Our clients look to us to help them understand how events in their community, along with what's happening on a national and global level, will affect their home purchase and its long-term value. Most realtors aren't economists though, and nothing in basic real estate training prepares us to have these conversations with clients. But these conversations can often dictate whether our clients actually think we know what we're doing or not. I love economics podcasts and listen to a bunch, but for this video, I want to recommend two in particular. The first is Slate Money. This podcast features a trio of hosts who are all financial correspondents for major media companies that specialize in national and world financial news. In most episodes, the primary host, Felix Salmon, selects a range of topics in the world of business, politics, and finance that affect the economy, and the three of them break down each topic and how it affects the world around us. Occasionally, they interview a guest who's coming out with a book or documentary or covering a huge news story. It's a very straightforward platform that you wouldn't think would be particularly entertaining based on my admittedly underwhelming description of it, but it's fantastic. Every single episode is super informative and fun to listen to. They do a really nice job of helping their listeners understand exactly what's happening, whether or not it matters, and what could potentially happen because of it. I absolutely love this show.
I do love it so.
The hosts all bring a different perspective into the day's topics, which provides for a little back and forth and well-rounded coverage of each item. Some episodes are lighter than others, with talks of Twitter versus Threads and how crazy Elon is. And others dive deep into things like monetary fund policy and its global market effects. The show does a great job of staying out of the weeds and making even the technical parts digestible for the armchair economists out there like me. My next economics podcast recommendation is Planet Money from NPR. This weekly podcast describes itself as, imagine you could call up a friend and say, meet me at a bar and tell me what's going on with the economy, where they find creative, entertaining ways to make sense of big, complicated forces that move our economy. They do this through a series of stories and interviews that allow them to break down what's going on in the world and serve it up in a very basic way, but all with an econ twist. They do a fantastic job of inserting economics terms and principles that educate you while entertaining you. They even do a summer school series each summer where they revisit past episodes and break down specific economic principles the episodes are trying to convey. Whether you've listened to 1,000 episodes or it's your first, you'll be able to jump right in because the stories are riveting, whether you care about the economics part or not. They've also done things like start a record label to help launch an older singer who never quite made it when he was young, just so they could learn about the economics of record labels. They've resurrected a superhero named Microface and even launched a satellite, all in the name of economics. And here's another bonus podcast. If you like Planet Money, you should also check out their daily podcast, The Indicator. These are 10-minute or less bite-sized shows for those of us who need some econ every day. Next category up is entrepreneurship. As realtors, most of us consider ourselves entrepreneurs, right? Whether we like it or not, we're business owners. And as such, we're all somewhere in the process of building our business from the ground up and often find ourselves wearing all the hats of a traditional business. Because of this, I love the podcast, How I Built This with Guy Raz. In this podcast, Guy interviews founders from businesses around the world. Businesses that span just about every category imaginable, including health and fitness, makeup brands, fast food chains, tech companies, and yes, even a little real estate. But the product really isn't what's important. What is important is the journey. That's where the real value lies. Hearing each founder tell the story of how their business came to be and the challenges they faced along the way. And quite often, the crazy solutions and miracles that took place in order for these companies to thrive is something that every real estate agent needs to hear. We experience the highest highs and lowest lows and face unexpected challenges all the time. Listening to How I Built This, you'll learn that you're not alone. Every business has had to overcome adversity and get a little lucky along the way to truly succeed. When you hear these stories and can internalize their struggles and what it took for them to overcome them, I know it will show you that just about anything is possible. Then hearing their business strategies, how they've structured their partnerships, financing, marketing, everything will give you ideas that you can incorporate directly into your business. Some of these stories are absolutely wild, and the fact that it may be about one of your favorite brands makes it all the better. Our last, but certainly not least category is mindset and motivation. Because no matter what we do in this business, none of it matters and none of it will work if we don't have the right mindset for success and aren't emotionally ready to take on the challenges of real estate. A strong mental foundation allows us to build successful lives upon it. For this, I highly recommend the Ed Mylett Show. Ed Mylett has quickly become one of the top motivational speakers and coaches in the world. He's mentored many of the top professional athletes, business leaders, celebrities, and politicians, and every single episode of his will help inspire you and prepare you for the ups and downs of real estate, and will help you grow as a leader and as a person. I was first introduced to Ed Mylett by catching a few clips of his talks right here on YouTube, and he's been a staple in my life ever since. The podcast alternates formats, with 1 week being an interview with one of the world's top thought leaders, and the next being just Ed imparting his wisdom for 15 to 20 minutes. The interviews feature a range of guests from celebrities and athletes like Matthew McConaughey and Troy Aikman, to Indian gurus and AI experts, where they'll cover topics like starting a spiritual revolution, the habits of highly resilient people, and managing your mental health. And as great as those interviews are, I have to admit, I actually like the episodes where it's just Ed dialoguing even more. Regardless of the topic, even if I start the episode thinking I don't need to hear what he's about to say, I always finish the podcast with a sense of inspiration or courage, or a sense that I know I can and will be better. And I want you to have that feeling too. So go check out the Ed Mylett Show. That's it for our 7 best podcasts for realtors in 2023. Do yourself a favor and go check them out and start listening to at least one of them right away. I promise it will help you grow your business and will help you grow as a person. What other podcasts do you recommend? Leave them in the comments below. I'm always looking for new pods to add to my rotation. Of course, don't let these podcasts distract you from watching this channel. If you haven't already, subscribe to see our future videos, and don't forget to hit that like button and share this with at least one of your coworkers. And if I can help you in your real estate business in any way, my contact information and my Calendly link are in the description below. Schedule a call or shoot me an email anytime. I'd love to connect. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.